Morning. Just come back from the torture house just to get rid of my Christmas mince pies, which I'm slowly burning through. And on my way I thought, look, I should put something up on here talking about tyre pressure, but more specifically not tyre pressure that's off-road, but tyre pressure that's on-road. Because, you know, once you put big tyres on the Jeep, you'll find, especially big mud terrains, you'll find that your ride becomes a little bit less compliant. It'll be a lot bumpier, and you'll sort of start to ask yourself, why the hell did I put these massive knobbly tyres on my car, Jeep? You'll be kicking yourself. But that's, you know, if you didn't know. I fully knew that that would have an impact on how comfortable the car is, the Jeep is. So look, there is a way that you can improve the ride quality of your off-road beast. The way to do that would be, one of the ways would be to upgrade your shocks, improve your lift kit. You could go to a specialist and you can get the car looked at. You can do things like look at the suspension geometry and look at the angles. You cast a correction and camber and all that sort of shit. Get a balance, but that stuff's expensive. So what can you do to improve your ride straight away? Well, you can adjust your tire pressure, and it occurred to me that this is something that I can do especially as well to improve my ride quality, because I've been running 35 psi. You go to these tyre shops and they straight off the bat they put your tyre pressure at about 40 psi, which is just ridiculous, because you're not going to be running that all the time, especially not running a mud terrain. Some people do, but look, the ride's going to be very harsh, and I believe that's due to the thick sidewall of the mud terrains. And obviously, these huge knobs that you've got on, not those kinds of knobs, the knobs on the tyres. When you've got these incredibly deep voids, it's not going to do a lot for noise levels or ride comfort. So you want to reduce your tyre pressure. But a problem with a lot of these modern cars, and this is a 2017-18 Jeep model, the last the JK Wranglers, is that they have a tyre pressure monitoring system, and this thing beeps at you if you reduce your tyre pressure any more than factory, which is 35 psi. And if you want to know what your factory psi is going to be, open your door and have a look at the inside of your placard here, and you'll sort of get to know a bit more about what the stock tyre sizes and psi that you should be running. Now, I'm running mine at 35 psi. I want to run them at 30 or 31, which is low, but I find that that's a really nice, comfortable place for me at the moment, and I'm just going to test it. Now, be aware that over or under inflation can cause even uneven wear on your tyres as well, and you just kind of have to test it a little bit. So I think for me, for the kind of driving that I do, which is a lot around town, a little bit of highway, I think 31 is going to be just right. And the way that you test that, I suppose, is how does it feel when you drive, how does it feel when you go over bumps. At 35 psi running the tyre that I've got here at the moment, when I go over a bump, it's a bit jarry, it's bouncing all over the place. So how do you stop that beeping? Well, I got one of these. It's a procal module, and what you do is you plug it in your, I think it's called an OB port. Sort of sits just under the dash here. You plug it in basically, and you can do all kinds of clever things with this module. You can, if I read the back of it, you can calibrate tyre size, speedo, ESP gearing and transmission, which is all great. You know, if you run larger tyres with an accurate speedometer, corrected transmission shift points, and a properly functioning electronic stability control, which is highly essential as well. But what you can also do is you can change the points at which your low tyre pressure monitor comes on and off, and when the warning comes on, which is just wonderful. And you can do it with you can change the running of your lamps and one-touch signaling and all that sort of stuff. So I found this module absolutely essential if you do things like re-gear your Jeep, because my Jeep is a newer Jeep. When I re-geared to 456 gears, basically the car went into limp mode, the Jeep went into limp mode, and couldn't get out of second gear. Ordered one of these, $250 Australian, came the next day, and pretty much plug it in, recalibrate all the shift points, the gearing ratios and whatnot, and the car was back to normal, except the lower gearing made a huge difference to the way that my Jeep drives, and that's on and off road, given all of the modifications I've done to it, which include slightly larger tyres, bumpers front and rear, winch, all of that. And when the Jeep gets a bit heavier, you know, and especially when you put bigger tyres on, it can sometimes feel, you know, that shift points are just not right. Some people will notice it, some don't. I certainly do, and I think, you know, for $250, it was totally worth it, you know, to correct some of those things like, you know, your shift points and whatnot after re-gearing, and especially that, but also things like your tyre pressure. So if you haven't already, get one of these bad boys. They're fantastic. And just letting you know, obviously, you know, really small YouTube channel over here, but I don't work with any of these companies. I don't get sponsored. Just obviously just giving you my real world experience here, which is just completely unadulterated, basically. So anyway, that's today's spiel. Get on it.